I stood there in the middle of the office, my hands trembling. As security guards emptied my desk drawers in front of everyone, whispers spread like wildfire. She stole it. I always knew something was off about her. My cheeks burned with the shame I didn't deserve. In that moment, my entire world shattered into pieces I didn't think I could ever put back together. My name is Elena, and 2 years ago, I believed I had everything I'd ever dreamed of. I was a senior accountant at one of the city's most respected firms. I had loyal friends, a beautiful apartment I'd worked so hard for, and a best friend, my ride or die, Sophia, who I thought would always have my back. We'd been inseparable since college. Late-night talks, celebrating promotions, crying over breakups. She was the sister I never had. Every Friday, we'd grab coffee at our favorite cafe. She'd laugh and say, "Elena, you're going to run this place one day. I'm so proud of you." I believed her. Why wouldn't I? I had helped her get a job in the same company. I covered for her when she was late. I even lent her money when she was struggling. That's what friends do, right? But what I didn't know that day was that while I was building her up, she was quietly tearing my life apart. It started small. Strange looks from colleagues. Money missing from client accounts. Then the audit. Suddenly, every missing dollar pointed straight at me. My signature was on forged documents. My login had been used to transfer funds into an offshore account. I was called into the CEO's office, and there was Sophia, standing beside him with tears in her eyes, saying, "I didn't want to believe it either. But the evidence is right there." My heart stopped. The woman I trusted most had just driven the knife in deeper. I was suspended immediately. Police got involved. My reputation, the one I had spent 10 years building, was destroyed in a single afternoon. Friends stopped answering my calls. My family looked at me with doubt in their eyes. I spent nights on my couch, staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment, wondering how I could have been so blind. The betrayal cut deeper than any wound I've ever known. Sophia wasn't just my friend, she was my safe place, and she had framed me for theft to cover her own tracks. I later learned she'd been siphoning money for months, living beyond her means, buying designer bags and trips she could never afford on her salary. When the auditors started sniffing around, she panicked and chose me as the perfect scapegoat. She used my computer when I stepped away for meetings. She had my passwords because I trusted her enough to share them. During a late-night work emergency, she even planted fake emails on my work account. Every detail was calculated, cold, brutal. I remember sitting in the police station, handcuffs digging into my wrists, tears streaming down my face. "I didn't do this," I whispered. The detective just looked at me with pity. "Ma'am, the evidence says otherwise." I lost my job. Savings drained on legal fees. I couldn't even get a waitressing gig because my name was now splashed across local news. Trusted accountant accused of embezzlement. Nights blurred into days. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping. I would stand in front of the mirror and barely recognize the broken woman staring back at me. But in the deepest part of that darkness, something inside me began to shift. The pain was suffocating, but it also lit a fire. I refused to let her destroy me completely. I started digging, quietly, methodically. I hired a private investigator with the last of my savings. I went through old chat logs, security footage from the office that I managed to obtain through a sympathetic former colleague, and bank records that didn't add up. The truth was uglier than I imagined. Sophia hadn't acted alone. She was working with her boyfriend, a man I had met many times, who smiled in my face while helping her set me up. They had planned it for months. They even celebrated the night I was arrested. I found messages that made my stomach turn. I cried for days when I uncovered it all, not just tears of sadness, but tears of rage. How could someone I loved like family do this to me? How could she sleep at night knowing she had taken everything from me? Yet every time the pain threatened to pull me under, I whispered to myself, "They don't get to win. Not like this." I didn't rush in screaming for revenge. I played it smarter than they ever could. I gathered irrefutable proof, timestamps, hidden transfers, voice recordings from a carefully placed meeting where Sophia bragged to her boyfriend about how easy it had been to frame poor, trusting Elena. Then I went to the authorities with everything, not just my case. I handed them a complete trail that exposed their entire scheme. The company launched a full internal investigation. The police reopened my case, and one ordinary Tuesday morning, I got the call I had been waiting for. Sophia and her boyfriend were arrested at their luxury apartment, the one they'd partly furnished with the money they stole and blamed on me. I watched from across the street as they were led out in handcuffs. She looked up and our eyes met for one brief second. The shock on her face, I'll never forget it. The company issued a public apology. My name was cleared. I received a settlement that more than covered everything I lost, and then some. But more than money, I got something priceless, my dignity back. Sophia tried to reach out once from behind bars, a letter full of excuses and fake tears. I burned it without opening the second page. Today, I stand taller than I ever did before. I started my own financial consulting firm. I help women who feel powerless rebuild their lives. And every time someone tells me their story of betrayal, I look them in the eyes and say, your pain is real. But it doesn't get the final word. You do. To anyone listening who's been betrayed, framed or broken by someone you loved, hear me when I say this. The people who hurt you think they've won. Let them believe it. Use that time to gather your strength. The truth has a way of surfacing when you refuse to stay silent. And when it does, the last laugh will be yours. I'm Elena. I was framed for theft, but I had the last laugh. Thank you for being here with me. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, your comeback will be so much stronger than their betrayal.